What made you want to lose weight?
It all started at the amusement park. I remember the day like it was yesterday. The hills, the long, treacherous hills. Walking up them hills with my ex and knowing that I could just catch a breath just once, just maybe once. But I didn't notice it yet. I didn't notice my weight then. No. He went and said, let's go to the roller coaster. I said, a roller coaster? I said, sure, why not? I could fit in those things. And I went there. I got online. And, we wait online for maybe like an hour. We get real close. And I see a woman there. A woman, she's getting before me. She looks like my height, same build. Caucasian woman. Blonde hair. She just had the same build. Double stomach, chest, big back. And she went before me. She got in the roller coaster, she sat down. And I said, I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit. He was like, no, you're not like her. I was like, all right. I go ahead and I look at her and I see two men go and try to help her put that bar, the bar? Mm-hmm. They try to push it down. I was a little nervous. The sweat started kicking in. I said, oh shit. I don't think I could fit. I was getting a little nervous. My ex was like, no worries. You're not her. And I believed that. I said, I'm not her.
In today's digital age, body image is policed more aggressively than ever before, especially for Black women. One recurring phenomenon that deserves critical examination is big girls losing weight and then displaying fatphobia. And this usually occurs when women who previously existed outside the boundaries of dominant beauty standards due to weight, race, class, or other factors become hypercritical of others once they alter their bodies through weight loss and or surgery. Today, I will be discussing Gia the Giant as an example of this. And Gia the Giant is a social media influencer who happens to be, like her name describes, a tall Black woman. She was married to a short, light-skinned Puerto Rican guy, and the fact that they were so oddly different is one of the reasons they were so popular on social media. They often lean into skits that typically typecasted them, and over the last year or two, the couple split, and Gia has noticeably lost a lot of weight, appearing more fashionable and a bit more confident. Like some fat people who tend to lose weight or become more desirable, she has displayed some fat-phobic rhetoric. Recently, she posted on social media, "You're not getting fit. Your body's inflamed from seed oils, sugar, and bleached carbs, and liquor. That's bloat, not pressure." Instead of extending grace or solidarity, women like her often perpetuate the same shame and judgment once directed at them. This behavior becomes especially disheartening when it comes from dark-skinned Black women who historically have never met the standard of beauty in Western society. When a woman who has had to endure exclusion or body-based bias herself then turns around and contributes to fatphobia, it feels like a betrayal to many. It disregards the community of women who may have once admired her precisely because she was relatable, a woman who embodied everyday struggles, someone who offered hope or visibility to others like her. While it's certainly important to promote health and question the nutritional value of what we consume, it's another thing entirely to weaponize wellness as a disguise for body shaming, especially when a person doing the shaming has had plastic surgery or access to resources that many others do not. That kind of transformation isn't available to everyone, particularly to those from marginalized backgrounds, and should not become the basis for superiority or scorn. Patricia Boyling offers vital context when she explains how access to high-quality food in the United States is skewed by money and housing patterns. Government subsidies favor corn growers and meat producers, which keeps calorie-dense, low-nutrition foods cheap and accessible, while healthier options remain financially out of reach. Many poor families fill their bellies with calorie-laden, fatty, and sweet foods because they are cheaper and more filling than more nutritious foods. These aren't simply poor choices, they are systemic outcomes. Boiling further notes how schools cut physical education classes, parents work long hours, and rely on fast meals, and food deserts limit access to fresh produce. Rather than shame individuals, especially fat Black women, these structural issues should be the focal point of our concern. Still, Boiling adds on an important caveat. While we must shift attention from individualized blame, it's important not to dismiss the health concerns related to being fat if one wants to be taken seriously.
Can we just talk about the big girls that lose weight and they become mean? Like, I'm a big girl, okay? But I've never been mean, nor will I ever become mean, inshallah. Like, why do you think just because you've lost weight, you can now talk down to everybody, you can now look at other fat people and be like, "Oh, yeah, like, that used to be you." And then, respectfully, some of you big girls, yeah, just because you lost weight does not mean your face card is face carding. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what the audacity that you can just come and start beefing people and then just be like, "Oh, you know, like, I'm skinny now." Shut up. Just because you're skinny, good for you. But your heart is not pure, and neither is your face. So don't do that. I don't like it when big girls lose weight and then become mean. I hate that. Why can't you just be the same girl that you was before? I understand, okay, cool, you must have been bullied, and I'm sorry for that. But don't forget who you are prior to losing weight. Don't do that. And I hate that because lately I've been seeing so many, like, girls that have lost weight. You think you're better than everybody. You think you're this, you think you're that. Don't do that. That weight can be put on like that, and you can go back to square one. Cool, fine, fair enough. You probably had cosmetic surgery, whatever. By the end of the day, do not forget who you are just because you lost weight. Don't be like these skinny, meanie, girls. Don't do that. Respectfully, don't do that. Be true to yourself. You lost weight, good for you. But treat everybody the same. Stop being mean. Stop being the bully. Because I understand it's a trauma response, but stop. Be kind. It does not hurt. Be kind. Because some of you really are doing too much.
One thing I hate the most are those girls that lose weight and all of a sudden they become fatphobic. Girl, you was just fat like a couple months ago. Relax yourself.
The ones that generally become like that, I'm telling you from now, it stems from self-hatred. It stems from self-hatred and literally projection onto others. This is why I always tell people that it's so important that you love yourself at every single stage. It's so important you love yourself at every single stage. This doesn't mean, if you're overweight, don't lose the weight. Or this doesn't mean that if you're underweight, don't gain weight. It just means loving yourself into your dream body. If your dream body is to be big, you still need to love yourself small. If your dream body is to be small, you need to still love yourself big. I hope that makes sense. And when I see people hate themselves into it, majority of the time, they then end up projection on others that are also on like the bigger side, if that makes sense. Like I said, I'm not saying being fat is healthy. I'm not saying being underweight is healthy, because they're not. But at the end of the day, screaming at someone and being so fatphobic isn't the way to go about it. That's just me personally. Especially if someone's been on the bigger side of themselves, or let's just say they're like cussing skinny people, if someone's been underweight themselves. Like, I find those scenarios crazy because you know what it's like to be in their shoe, and that's the way people choose to go about it sometimes, as in be mean. I feel like it's weird.
God knows I'm not trying to be messy, but are we going to talk about the plus size girls who have significantly lost a lot of weight and now they've turned into mean girls? Or is that topic for 2026?
Let me get this straight. When other races tell Black women that they need to live a healthier lifestyle because they're more prone to health problems, y'all tell them to stay out of Black folks' business. Okay. When Black men get on here and tell Black women that they need to live a healthier lifestyle, y'all tell them to stay out of women's business. Okay. When Black women get on here to tell other Black women that they need to live a healthier lifestyle, y'all tell them to mind their business. Y'all say we're the least supported group in America, but when somebody gives y'all sound advice, y'all would rather hold on to 400 years of slavery rather than taking accountability for your present day actions. Okay.
So I've seen some discourse about this sentiment, fat to fit to mean girl pipeline. And I gotta say, I think everybody's getting the causal relationship wrong. It's not that fat people suddenly become mean when they lose weight. It's that our society encourages fat people to play the role of the nice fat friend because fat phobia is so ever present that they know if they speak their actual minds, people are going to immediately be cruel to them because of their bodies. So if they do finally become fit, they are not becoming a mean girl. They are becoming just like everyone else who is casually fat phobic. And we see this in a number of ways in society. Just wait for any celebrity who is obese or fat to do something wrong that has nothing to do with their fatness. The first thing people are going to do is call them a big fat gross bitch, like something like that. That is what always happens because y'all are still fat phobic, but the way that you reconcile it within yourselves and the way that you can believe that you are not fat phobic is, well, I'm not calling my friend fat and I have a friend who's fat, but if this person I hate does something wrong that has nothing to do with their fatness, the first thing I'm going to do, instead of critiquing the thing they did actually wrong, is call them a fat sloppy bitch. Like, that's what you're going to do. And I have personal experience from this. I lost about 100 pounds years ago, since not that small anymore, due to the pandemic. But when I lost about 100 pounds, as much as you prepare yourself for how people will treat you differently, I cannot stress how much they treat you differently. But the part we don't talk about enough is how that makes you deeply distrustful of a lot of different people, because you can get to a point where like you've been like in your smaller body so long that you start to forget, like you start to put some of those walls down. You're not as cautious when you want to speak your mind and give your opinion. There are a lot of things that you just get kind of used to it, but you will be in a group of people because people tend to assume that the body weight you currently are is roughly how you've always looked. And so you will be in a group of people and they will just casually be fat phobic, talking about people, calling them fat, calling them gross, saying like, oh, I don't know why they're wearing that shirt. It's not flattering. Stuff like that. But y'all don't want to acknowledge it. I especially never want to hear this sentiment from someone who has never been fat because you don't have the experience. You think, oh, I gained 5 pounds over the past 3 years. I'm such a fucking pig. Y'all are those same ones who will like post a picture on Instagram like you ate 2 slices of pizza and you're like, oh my God, I'm so fat. I'm so chubby. I'm a big boy. Like, no, you aren't. Like, stop. That's stolen valor. So yeah, what most people are interpreting as a mean girl effect is truly just people who used to be fat acclimating to the norms of the rest of society because you are used to them playing a subservient, supporting character role, and now they're stepping into the role of a lead. That's what you're actually reacting to.
Health matters, but so does context, compassion, and equity. Sociologist Sabrina Strings provides a deeper theoretical foundation by pointing out that quote-unquote deviance in our culture has long described not just actions, but bodies, especially those of women and people of color. She writes, notions of normativity disseminated largely by white men prize their purported physical embodiment, values, and practices. All women and people of color were adjudged to varying degrees to be deviants or to represent deviations from the white male norm. And this framework, Black women's bodies are often seen as inherently excessive or out of control, too fat, too loud, too much. And this is not merely about weight. It's about who gets to belong in public spaces and who gets to define beauty, health, and value. Thus, when a Black woman who has been marginalized for her appearance internalizes those very norms and begins to weaponize them against others, she is not quote-unquote empowered. She is performing a version of proximity to whiteness and thinness that reinforces the very structures that harmed her in the first place. In no way am I saying that this woman should be humble in her new body. Yet I'm also not saying that it's acceptable to talk down on some people who don't look like her or who aren't fit. It is not empowerment to echo the voice of the oppressor. True empowerment lies in dismantling the systems that told us we were not enough in the first place. We need more nuanced conversations about body image, health, and beauty, ones that center community, accessibility, and self-worth, not hierarchy and shame. What are your thoughts on this subject? Let me know down in the comments. And thank you so much for listening to Books and Looks TV. I'll see y'all next time.
Then there was a third guy that came in, kept trying to help this lady, just pushing it down, just kept pushing it down. And I was like, Lord have mercy. I saw all the people say, boo, get off the ride. We want to get on. I'm like, oh, man, that might be me next. You know, and yeah, she eventually gave up on the dreams of being on that ride. And she took the bar up and she peacefully left. And everybody cheered and screamed, saying, yeah. And I was like, oh, they're going to hate to see me coming.
That's wild.
And it was our go. It was our turn. And the bars went shh. And I walked real slow. I felt like this was like Final Destination. I was like, I remember that girl. I remember that girl before me. But maybe just maybe I will be different.